Well, aloha and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Paul Fletcher, and this is the Healing Source. Today's date live is July 24, 2024, and this is Series 12. And this entire series is called Quantumly Entangled. And each and every week, I delve a little bit more, melding the information related to quantum entanglement, your soul, uh, the combination of those two, and how they interact with each other, the the way that interaction can bring positive benefits to your life, or how it can exacerbate negative experiences in your life, and then also incorporating in manifestation wisdom and understandings. So if you're new and that sounds like something very interesting to you, then please like and subscribe. Now, the foundation of what I'm sharing is rooted in the understanding that we are a soul and that all souls are part of the source, and that we are co-creators in that source subdivision, if you will. And so, with that as the foundation, everything that I'm sharing leads back to how can we evolve our soul to move through, past, and out of the various sufferings that, for the most part, we find ourselves in, both as individuals and as a collective group. And the advent of the wisdom around quantum entanglement is relatively new. I don't know exactly when it started. I'm not a physicist. I have done almost no research on quantum entanglement itself. I am highly educated in all things soul, and all things for healing and transforming aspects of the soul. However, I have worked directly with a very well-known quantum physicist, Dr. Rulin Shu, and she has worked directly with Dr. and Master Sha, who is my spiritual teacher. And so, having went through 15 or so years of training with him and working directly with Rulin for 3 years, I became intrigued with the interconnection of the Tao wisdom, which is associated with healing and transformation of any of the aspects of your life that might be out of balance, and I do mean any aspect. And then also the advent or additional information associated with quantum entanglement. And I started to see a significant amount of correlation. And one example is in the wisdom that Dr. and Master Sha has shared for over 30 years, and 15 of which I have been utilizing to help myself and literally thousands of people to improve their lives. And in the both learning and explanation and application of the Tao wisdom, I see a huge correlation with quantum entanglement. One example is Master Sha, growing up in a Buddhist culture and a Taoist culture, they were taught this verbiage called karma. That verbiage has since been changed to positive or negative information that remains on our vibration, our soul, if you will. But if we work with the words karma just for a minute, there's good and bad karma in a very general statement. Well, quantum entanglement doesn't doesn't align to either side. It is simply a representation of an entanglement. What then is an entanglement? That originates with something, uh, according to the wisdom that I do understand, which I explained quite a bit last week. Entanglement occurs the moment we put attention on something. The absolute instant attention is put in a particular direction, there is the beginning of an entanglement. And if you missed my presentation last week, where I speak about the slit theory, excuse me, and how a particle was sent to that slit and it acted as a waveform until attention was given to it, and then all of a sudden it showed up. Well, that ties into the co-creation. And again, I talked on this last week, so go back and watch that. It really sets a good foundation for today's subject matter. But specific to the Tao wisdom and teachings that I like to interweave with this conversation, what was interesting to me is that uh, the ancient wisdom's teaching says, watch your thoughts, watch your words, watch your speech, watch your thinking, okay, your actions. And so a thought actually has a precursor now, right? Sometimes the thoughts just enter, but often there might be, in the case of an entanglement, quantum physics says attention. So the moment attention is given to something, so the moment a thought enters, then a form occurs, an entanglement occurs. So that thought might be something that we are purposely looking to bring into our field. We're purposely searching out a thought for an answer, or it could be that it just enters our field. This is not uncommon. You have probably heard of how people will get the same idea for an invention almost exact same time. That's because that idea is available to everybody. All possibilities exist at all times. This is a statement that is a quantum physics statement. It is validated by the higher wisdoms. All possibilities exist at all time, but quantum physics says the moment an intention is placed upon what possibility there is, then that possibility starts to come into fruition, becomes visible, so to speak. And so what I wanted to bring to the table today is the statement that all souls entanglements is a side effect of our co-creation qualities, or our co-creation abilities. So what exactly do I mean by that? Well, you are a soul that is entangled with source. So am I. We are all entangled with source. We are all source experiencing all possibilities. So I'll say that again. We are source experiencing all possibilities. We are simply a subdivision of source referred to as a soul. And in the experiencing of all possibilities, we also are a co-creator of some of those possibilities. Our co-creation is dependent upon our vibration and its alignment with other people's vibrations. So you know how sometimes you don't want to be in the room with certain peoples, and other times you can't be close enough to that person. It depends on their vibration, and it depends on our vibration. So when we are in the same vicinity, typically it's because that's where we want to be. So it's really interesting when you look at our soul's entanglements and how it is literally in a constant flux. So we create our own universe, and we are part of a larger universe, physical universe, and that is part of a larger universe. I remember watching a really interesting short video, and it showed how this was, I believe, in Brazil. They poured approximately 10,000 pounds of a very liquid cement into an anthill, obviously killing millions of ants in the process. Probably not good karma, probably creating some soul level entanglement with all those ants, whoever did that. But the interesting part to me in the video was that they dug away all that was left. And it showed basically the entire ant colony's underground homes, their structure, where everything was located at, what the purpose of it was. They had nurseries, they had food areas, storage areas, they had apartment complexes, so to speak. It was quite interesting. And the reason I bring this up is because there is so much happening below the surface that we don't see as a soul. And I don't mean the physical surface. I mean, there is so much happening that we have no idea about in all universes, above, below, sideways. We are stuck in our universe, but our thoughts, words, and actions impact all those within our vibration and frequency. It also impacts those outside of it. Isn't that interesting? Because just like one rogue cell can impact the other cells in a body, the rogue cell of Earth and its current vibration can impact the surrounding stars, planets, galaxies, and universes. And the same below. If we make mistakes here as a human being, as a collective, if we blow up Earth in this example, we affect the ants and everything else. So it's this one massive entanglement that is truly not seen as such. You can say the words, we are one. We can say the words, we are entangled, but it truly is not, in my observation, understood. Now, what is the relevance of that to you? What is the relevance of that understanding and wisdom to you? Well, the more you become cognizant that literally with each breath, with each thought, with each word or action, you are co-creating. You are part of an effect that is affecting not only your world, but everything above you, everything below you, everything to the left, and everything to the right. Every thought creates that ripple effect in the quantum entanglement. And as what was stated last week, what has been documented by science, the focus on that particle on the left side of the universe affects the particle on the right side of the universe the same. Okay, again, that's validated by science. And so to think for a moment that you are, quote, alone in your thoughts, words, and actions is not true. You are entangled whether you know it or not. And we want to be able to take that information and tie in the Tao wisdom with it. So what does the Tao wisdom say? It says that many things, but in terms of the ultimate intention behind the wisdom is to assist you with seeing this reality for what it is, which is, it's basically just a projection, an agreed culmination of vibrations. This is what my vibration wants to say today. Therefore, I am talking to you. Therefore, you're receiving it through the vibrations in the air, which your ears pick up. You're seeing me through the camera. Your eyes translate the vibration of what it sees into my image. It brings it into your head. It translates that into perceptions, and then those perceptions radiate out and create more quantum entanglement. So as I speak, I'm entangling with you. As you listen, you're entangling with me. This is part of our co-creation. If some things that I say resonate with you, then that resonation will assist you in the way you bring yourself to the next person you talk to. It'll assist you in the way you bring yourself to your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And if what I say to you is received, and you have, for example, an epiphany with it, and then you go off and you start some business as a result of that epiphany, and you make millions of dollars, and you go and help millions of children around the world with your millions of dollars, then that little thought that I shared, which created your epiphany, creates this entire quantum entanglement effect. And all of the good things that happen as a result of that also feed that larger entanglement, and a little bit of that good comes back to me, and it's called good karma. Okay, so I get what might be called virtue in the Tao wisdom and teachings from sharing that good thought. And the same goes in reverse. So if I share something that causes you to feel inferior or closes your heart, maybe I say something that says, all pink people are stupid people. Well, if you happen to be a pink person, you could take that quite personally. It could close your heart, and then that creates a depression. That depression could then affect your entire family. It could affect your livelihood, and it creates this entire negative ripple effect because I say pink people are stupid. So the Taoism acknowledges that our thoughts, our words, and our actions can affect both directions, positive and negative. Quantum entanglement acknowledges that same thing, but it takes it to a whole nother level of comprehension, because prior to quantum entanglement's wisdom and information, sorry, I had to clear my throat there. Prior to quantum entanglement's wisdom and information, everything I've ever heard up until that point was limited to my little world, right? My thoughts, words, and actions affect only those people in my vibration, only those people within my reach. So I was trying to be responsible for only my stuff. But in reality, we are a co-creative collective. It has been stated in various information out there that may or may not be true. Time typically validates those things, but it has been stated that Earth as what's referred to as a nexus planet. It's a portal planet through which higher and lower can go through to the various lower dimensional frequencies and to the higher dimensional frequencies. That would explain a lot as to the difficulties they're experiencing on this planet. But it also has been stated by many different sources that we are moving into a light age. So, from a quantum entanglement perspective, what does that mean? Uh, my perception of what that means is that we are collectively raising our awareness that there is more to life than simply beating each other up, starting wars, creating movements like wokeism and all of the other movements that segregate, separate, and create resistance between individuals. And my observation is that the growth of us as a human, the growth of us as a community, and the growth of us as a world and as a part of the universe is all connected to that. When we look around today, at least in America, there's this is what, July 24th. So we have elections coming up. We have a divide on both sides of the fence when it comes to the political arena. And there is so much separation and segregation with that. What is the ripple effect of that? Is that moving everyone towards oneness, or is that moving everyone away from oneness? And as humanity continues their awakening process, as they start to realize that their individual thoughts, words, and actions does affect everyone, not only in their vibration, but it just keeps going out, then we will eventually get to the point as a race and as a earth that we can potentially affect these larger systems with conscious purpose. Right now, we are, as a collective whole, entirely oblivious to that. We are entirely oblivious to how we're affecting, in this example, the Act Kingdom underneath our feet, or the heavenly realms above us. We are oblivious to the life outside of us and the other realms and the other planets, stars, galaxies, and universes. And because we are oblivious to that, we're kind of like a wild man swinging in the woods, swinging an axe in the woods, occasionally hitting something and not knowing why they're hitting it. We are so stuck in the me that we're not able to actually do anything that can be a benefit to the whole. This is a shame, but it is the process of waking up. It is the process of doing what we can in the waking up process, and it is a process of learning why we're here. The why part, you're going to have 1,000 different answers to that. My teacher, Master Sha, would say the purpose of life is to serve. That comes back around to the oneness consciousness. That which I do for others not only helps them, but it aligns me and it helps the entirety of the whole. That level of awakening, that level of consciousness is coming. That is what the golden age or the light, soul light era is about. But the time between here and there could be 1,000 years, could be even more. I've read things about what's referred to as very enlightened societies or very advanced souls that are in other densities. It doesn't really matter what you call it. We'll say, for simple numbers, let's say it's the 7th dimension. Honestly, don't know enough about that stuff to speak with it, but let's say that they were in the 7th dimension. And the things that I've read about those supposedly in that dimension is that they're formless, that they move much like, you've ever seen the swallows, how they follow each other in the air and they make these wonderful shapes and thousands of them move just synchronistically. The articles that I read states that it's like that those souls are all in essence in harmony, that not one of them really has a me thought. Not one of them really has a let's go this direction because I want to thought. They're all moving in harmony in a collective agreement that is free of individual me stuff. Now, in terms of the larger picture and the co-creation, that is just source experiencing source in a different way. Right now, you and I are here. We're experiencing source in our way. We, as souls in this life, in this vibration, ideally, you and I, want to be much more aware and conscious of our thoughts, our words, and our actions. And as we move into that, different layers of that, I encourage you and I invite you to start contemplating that not only does your thoughts, words, and actions affect those individuals directly in front of you, or in this case, those who listen to my podcast, but it also directly affects those that we cannot see, know, or are aware of, as I have been explaining, that which is below our surface, that which is outside of our Earth and our galaxy. And if you start adding that to your recognition, to your desire to affect everything by your thoughts, words, and actions in a positive way, you can start to appreciate quite a bit more the quantum entanglement. Because truly, the ripple does go out and out and out and out and out. And the ability to reach high layers of enlightenment, the ability to become, quote, an immortal, I would think, based on everything that I've learned to date, is going to be absolutely impossible unless we start thinking in that way, unless we start realizing that to monitor and choose as much as possible the right and appropriate thought that will benefit the most, as much as possible to choose and direct the exacting words that will be coming out of your mouth with any communication, to choose and direct as much as possible the actions with the knowingness that it affects so much more than your immediate environment. I believe that that's the next layer of awakening for the human being that is moving towards higher levels of evolution. And the information that I've received so far in terms of the one who is to become an immortal, meaning someone who exists in all places at all times, can exist in all places at all times, or can exist in 1,000 places at once, etc., etc. That would be because they know all possibilities exist. That's because they live in that knowingness. You and I, where we're at now, we do not live in that knowingness. If we believed that all possibilities exist, we would very clearly choose a possibility where you probably wouldn't be listening to me. You'd probably be lounging in the Caribbean somewhere enjoying a Mai Tai. And so when we grasp at the innate level that we literally operate at, the soul level, that all possibilities exist, that's when you are that enlightened being. From here to there, how do we get there? Start realizing, yes, that all possibilities exist, and that in order to make those possibilities come to me, the ones that I want come to me faster, I need to be the monitor of my thoughts, my words, and my actions, because those side effects create entanglement. The side effects can either create a positive entanglement or a negative one. And if I'm creating negative entanglements through my thoughts, words, and actions, then I am extending my journey. I am creating more unpleasant karma, so to speak, that I will have to, at some point in time, be awake enough to unwind it and reverse it so that I can then move forward in life with greater ease and efficacy. Why not start now is the point. If you have the wisdom, you have a choice with every moment. You can complain. I just listened this morning to a TikTok I was flipping through, and it was a repeat of what I know. It was just said slightly differently. But in essence, what the person said was, when you complain again and again and again, this is the root of a great deal of your depression, a great deal of your problems, because you are bringing forth that energy right in front of you in that moment. Doesn't matter if it happened 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you're regurgitating it, and now that frequency from 10 years ago is right in your front doorstep. You put it there. Nobody else did. So that's an example of monitoring our thoughts, words, and actions. The more we move into not repeating those things, then we are reducing the entanglements that we are creating. When we monitor and disallow the regurgitation of a suffering, the regurgitation of a pain, the regurgitation of a memory that is not of benefit to us, then that is when we are truly on the path of awakening. That is when we are truly on the path of co-creating to benefit all souls versus a co-creation that will extend everyone's experiences. Now, maybe in the bigger scheme, the source doesn't give a hoot if we extend it for forever and ever and ever. Bring out more and more negativity. Everybody goes down the negative road. Maybe that's part of the source experience too. But at least for me, being here on Earth at this time, I'm not a big fan of suffering, and I would like to shorten it myself. So if you're in that same game where you'd like to shorten the suffering, then be more vigilant in your awareness. See meaning pay attention to where you might be restating, regurgitating, saying out loud or silently in your head negative things. Okay? And ask yourself why. Go a little bit deeper on that, because there's a reason why it keeps coming up. Most likely it's because you haven't addressed it at the level of responsibility. This is what I was feeling, this is what I was needing, and I forgive myself for feeling that and needing that, and instead acting out in this and this and that way and regurgitating it. And I forgive that person for doing that. I forgive myself for making them responsible versus taking responsibility. And you can walk through that and unwind that so that it's not repeating anymore in your vibration. That's a very wise thing to do. That's a conscious co-creation that's bigger than you. When you go through the process of unwinding that, you are not only positively affecting you, you are positively affecting that other person that you made that entanglement with. Let's say it was a father or a mother figure, and the communication, created a rift between you or created a trauma between you. Okay, you can regurgitate that all you want, but it's not helping them, it's not helping you, and it's keeping that entanglement nice and tight. You want to be able to completely loosen that and let it go. The Tao wisdom teaches you how to do that. The sharing of how our soul's entanglement and its side effects and our co-creation is how I'm trying to link the two, so you can start to see that it's not just affecting you and that one person, it's affecting everyone around you, because that entanglement is in this example, say it's a relationship issue, is causing your heart to be more closed. That then causes you to be less loving, kind, compassionate, and positively communicative to others around you. That negatively affects them. And then they potentially can be negatively affected and go out and create more negative entanglement outside of them. And the list goes on and on and on. So when we really take a look at this bigger picture, our soul's entanglement is with the entirety of creation. And we need to be self-responsible, not just for us, but because of everything that we connect to. Now, that might sound like what it sounded to me when I first heard 15 years ago that your thoughts create karma. Because at that time I was like, no, I just want to have all the thoughts that I want, and no one else is hearing them, so there's no reason it should create karma. But it does. And it's no different with this. Now that you know this wisdom, now that you know this information, you can't put the cat back in the bag. It's out of the bag. You need to be able to work with it and acknowledge it, and slowly but surely start making better choices, not only for you, but for all those that are affected around you. This is the true meaning of we are one. And this is the true actions of an individual that has a desire to truly move through and past the reincarnation cycle, move to layers of enlightenment, move to layers of the highest levels of oneness with all things. Now, if you don't have that agenda, you just want to meander through life and laugh at everything and wonder about everything, you can. That's your journey, and that's source experiencing source through you in that way. Nothing wrong with that. But if you have a desire like myself to stop this reincarnation cycle, to grow and to become a higher version of myself, and to speed that up, then the wisdom shared today should help you with that. Okay, so I want to thank you all for coming. We'll be back next week with Quantumly Entangled, where we will discuss another variation of the subject matter so that we can be better manifestors and better co-creators. Until then, have an awesome day, everyone. Bye-bye.